when it's already been a morning. Man. Good morning. It's Bev. This is the Bev D Show. This is Tuesday with Todd. We had a couple of technical difficulties, but I got through it, and we are here. And so I just messaged him to call in, and hopefully that is him right now as I'm doing the intro. Good morning. Here we are.
Good morning.
Oh my
Ish.
gosh, Ish is right. You're so funny. It's okay. You're not allowed to tease me about being late anymore because that's when I'm late. It's terrible.
I think it's just within you siblings because Dad was constitutionally incapable of being on time.
No, I can be on time. I've just. I'm adjusting. I got this darn medication and stuff, and so I'm just happy to be on this side of the grass. But I am a late person. But I can be on time for certain things, and I certainly tried to do that with this. And then, of course, needed to restart, needed updates, and Skype just, this technology, God bless it, but it does have a mind of its own. So good morning.
Good morning.
Speaking of technology, I am now in the house. I have an Alexa thingy.
You've brought the government in the house.
I know. But fallen into the trap have I. This thing is amazing. And amazing. I mean, let's be honest. And, everything from, it really is a pain to turn the way our garage lights are hooked up. It really is a pain. You got to go outside. You got to go to this unit. And, if you had an electrician, I'm sure they could do all this other stuff. But as it's set up right now, the garage lights, you have to go into the garage to flip the switch to turn the garage lights on and off. And that's not fun when it's covered in snow from a snowdrift. And now you can just, I can't say it too loud or she'll do it, but you can just tell her to, seriously, you could just tell her to turn them lights on and off, man. And it's pretty cool. Or cooking dinner and right in the middle of everything, and you go, hey, play some Neil Diamond. And she does. It's amazing. It will turn on, I really could have used her when I, especially when I lived alone, because, you can just say, turn on a light wherever you want in the house. You hook it up to all these different places, and it will do that. So it's pretty exciting. But,
so I should walk and say, Alexa, set an alarm for 3:30 a.m. of creepy noises.
You could do that. Last night, it was the ocean sounds. I'm not kidding. We went to sleep to the ocean. I am against it. I'm trying to fight it, but I can't. It really is amazing. Really.
Ask her if she works for the government.
Oh, it's so funny, the different things that I've tried to ask her, and she'll go, I'm not sure if I know that song. It's like, really?
Mm-hmm.
She's not all the way artificially intelligent. She doesn't know everything. So what have you been doing? What do you got going on? What's going on, Todd?
Are we on right now?
Oh yeah, we're on. I kicked it off. I'm sorry.
Oh, good. I am just sitting here having a cup of my Rowdy Beans coffee, like that little plug there. And I do my morning stuff, and it's actually a really relaxing morning, even though it's kind of rainy out. It's peaceful, very peaceful out.
Yeah.
Had a great weekend. A little bit of bad news that had come across. You could say some prayer. A guy I went to school with, very dear friend of mine. When we first got out of school, there were 6 of us that hung out for like 4 or 5 years straight, and we were like thick as thieves. And there was 3 guys and 3 girls, and I mean, we did everything together.
Right.
Well, Darren and Erica ended up dating and getting married, and they had two kids. Sadly, his oldest son was found dead of an overdose last week.
No.
And
Oh
yeah,
my
it's
gosh.
just all 22 years old. He's a baby, you know. Um, but other than that, things are going really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
What do we do
Really
with
good.
what do we well, I'm really glad to hear that, but you know what? It's taken these young kids. It's getting into the diving right into the human race. I mean, nobody
Well,
gets
it's just
out
like
alive. Nobody gets out alive, and I get that, but daggone it. I don't like to hear that.
no, it's awful and tragic, but I think that was a problem for a long, long time. Um, in society standards, I guess you'd say, that out of sight, out of mind thing.
Mhm.
And nobody wanted to speak of certain things, everything from, child abuse to sexual misconduct, the whole nine yards. And it doesn't fix anything. It doesn't help anything. And I don't mean that from a legal standpoint.
Mhm.
Um, from the victim to parents that have lost children, I couldn't possibly fathom something of that nature. And if you
Right.
don't talk about it or have some type of association with it, how are people able to help or help themselves in a sense? And that's one thing I have seen a lot more of an explosion of more and more people doing that. Because not only are you helping somebody else, but it truly helps you.
Mhm.
Nothing better than being able to communicate with somebody that's walked in your footsteps and has gone through what you've gone through.
Yeah.
I used to sit there when I was in counseling, when I was in treatment, and I had asked, I had asked her at the time. I was like, "Are you in?" Because I was all stubborn and all high on my horse and stuff, and I was like, "We know, are you an alcoholic or suffer from addiction?" And she's like, "From alcohol and drugs?" And I said, "Well, yeah." And she goes, "No." And I would sit there with my arms folded. I wouldn't say two words. Well, how are you going to help me because you don't know crap? You don't know. You
Yeah.
don't know. And she would sit there. She knew what I was doing. She broke me, but she would sit there and go. She goes, "Todd, it doesn't matter to me. I get paid no matter what. I don't care." And she'd sit there. Well, here for years she had suffered with her weight and food. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's that common denominator, that unsatiable feeling of having to have something fill this void inside me, and
Mhm.
then not knowing how to suffer the consequences of what follows through with it, I guess you'd say.
Mhm.
And
You
you
know,
know what
it's in you're
it's
right. It's in so many different fashions. I mean, and I've talked to people, and I've mentioned a person that I knew when I was very young on the show before, and we were both in high school, and she she was overweight, and found her crying in the bathroom, and lots of things are discussed in the high school girls' bathroom, by the way. And I was in there with her, and she's crying, and she was saying how they're all the popular guys and all the cute guys were making fun of her. And I said, well, there's a couple of things. One, it's them, because it's very minor. It's much different, but I have this birthmark, and so people love to tease about that. It was the era of, I grew up in the era of redneck, and
mm,
people love to call me that because that's just how they would find a way to make fun of me. Or I had a bigger nose than I should for my face, and they called me Jimmy Durante, and big nose and all kinds of stuff. And I developed early as well. And so I had, I always said to people I had a big nose, big boobs, and a birthmark. And I did, and because of my, uh, seriously, because of my chest, everybody teased me about being, a whore, or that I was this person that I wasn't. And so I dealt with it, and I dealt with it through humor, kind of the, oh yeah, so what am I, what are you, what am I, all that kind of stuff. And I got myself out of it through humor. Yeah, well, I can cover up my birthmark, or I can't help it that I have a birthmark, but you're always going to be a jerk. And,
Hmm.
things like that. We're Rossiters, our tongue is laser. And so I learned through that. But I said to her, one thing that I realized is that when people bully or make fun of, they're just it's their environment that they came from. They just want to be mean, and actually, in turn, we gotta say a little prayer and just hope the best for them. Now, that doesn't excuse what they're doing. We just have to find a way to react to it. So, at my very young age, I was trying to coach her through that. And I said, the other thing is, I said, are you happy with who you are? Or if you're okay with it, there was that Argent song, Hold Your Head Up. I said, you've got to feel that way, let that be their, you know, their misery, their problem, that they're jerks, that they make fun of you, that they found somebody vulnerable that they can pick on. And I said, if you're really happy with the way that you are, then you've got to go on and move strong. But I said, you have an opportunity to make a change if you're not, in fact, happy with yourself. But that's completely up to you. We cried, we hugged, we moved on. And she moved on to lose several pounds. I swear she told me 40 or 50. And she told me that that was a pivotal moment in her life, in that um, high school, in that bathroom. And she said it was because she realized exactly what you said, Todd. She was feeding um, this. She was almost at a point to where, if I'm fat anyways, I'm going to continue to put this blanket around me because I wouldn't want to have to work at being something else, which is either in shape or thin or whatever. And she was trying to fill something that had happened to her when she was a little girl. And that's, I mean, but she wasn't the drinker, she wasn't the smoker, she wasn't the drug taker. That was her gig, and she was as addicted to that. And it possibly at her age, we're so young, and if we're heavy, it's not that, people can't feel good in their own frame. That's not good for them. And so it's not necessarily healthy for your organs and things like that. So you're right. We choose our poison, and it is for a reason that we try to cover up, mask, or fill the void of what's really going on.
Absolutely, and you have, and most of the bullying and things of that nature, like you said, some people are just mean, but 90% of the time, it's insecurities within them.
Yep.
Anything they can do to direct attention away from what they're hurting inside from,
Yep.
they're going to do. And kids are brutal,
Mm-hmm.
and
Well, we've
for them to not correct it is it's not all their fault either.
Well,
It's a
we've got
learned
adult
behavior.
bullies out there right now. We've given a platform, Todd, where anybody can say anything that they want and get away
Well,
with it.
everybody's a keyboard tough guy too.
Yeah, yeah. It's they're sitting behind their phone or their keyboard, and they get to say whatever they want, and it's hurtful. It's hurtful to me in a way that, not so much that, hey, that wasn't nice that they said that to that person, or whatever name calling they're doing online or whatever. It's hurtful to me for the human race. It makes us look silly. Like we've taken these amazing, as I was talking about technology, we've got the internet. It's going to be the best of us or the worst of us. And people have taken that amazing platform to be able to communicate with anybody in the world. In the world. You couldn't do that